Hello, welcome to Church Searcher. My name is Chris and today we're up on the North York moors searching for Lilla Cross, said to be the oldest standing Christian monument in the whole of the north of England. On our way to finding Lilla Cross, we're going to try and find a few other standing Christian monuments as well, starting here at Mauley Cross. So from here we'll be going out to try and find Malo Cross, which is an ancient boundary marker, and from there we'll be striking out across the heather, which is all in flower at the moment, to try and find Lilla Cross. And once there, we'll take a look at Bede's ecclesiastical history of the English people, and we'll be hearing about how Lilla sacrificed his own life to save that of his king, King Edwin of Northumbria. So the Mauley Cross is named after the de Mauley family, who were the Norman baronial family in this area, with their seat at Mulgrave Castle, which is further towards the coast near Whitby. Founded in the 13th century by Peter de Mauley, who is said to be one of King John's evil barons. So the Mauley Cross is a wayside marker, and it stands right by the ancient Roman road which once passed through here. It later became a medieval trackway and is now a forestry track. And still to this day people leave coin offerings on the top of the cross, and this is meant to be for wayfarers coming through who needed maybe money for food, drink or a place to stay for the night. People leave them here now for good luck. So, this being the North York moors, despite me picking the sunniest day in the forecast, as soon as I just drop down into the valley here, the grey cloud has descended, the fog has risen up, and it's a bit of a murky day now suddenly, so apologies for that. I even brought a rug to shield my eyes from the sun when I was filming. But anyway, regardless, already ahead of us I can see our next cross, Malo Cross. So this is Malo Cross. This is a boundary marker erected in 1619 by Sir Richard Egerton. And if you look on the cross there, we've got K-R-E carved into it. So it could be that the K is Knight or Sir Richard Egerton. So doing a bit of research, Sir Richard Egerton was born in 1526 in Ridley in Cheshire, so quite away from here. And he died there also in 1628 at the age of 52. His father was Ralph or Rafe Egerton, so another R.E., and his mother was called Barbara. She was the only daughter and heir of Stephen Holford of Alliston. Now Alliston is the parish here just to the east of Pickering by about 5 miles. So this is the boundary marker for the land that the family inherited through his mother. Now doing a bit more research, Sir Richard Egerton's father died in 1619, the year that this was erected. So either Sir Richard Egerton is staking his claim to the land here after the passing of his father, proclaiming that this land is now his, or perhaps the RE on here, as well as marking the boundary of his land, maybe it's possibly memorialising his father, Rafe Egerton, with the RE on there. Now from here we're going to be heading north, going past RAF Fylingdales, which is a military base, on towards Lilla Cross itself. We'll be going over the heather, through a few marshy, boggy areas, probably through a few more bits of cloud and fog. Well, turns out this rug is quite handy for keeping the flies off because there's loads around. But this heather moorland is managed by the gamekeepers up here for grouse shooting. We're in the grouse shooting season at the moment, starting on the glorious 12th of August, lasts through the winter. But they burn off heather in sections to encourage new shoots to grow up, and the young grouse feed on those young shoots, but then they've got the mature heather where they nest amongst the ground. We've also got lots of wild grasses, reeds and rushes. Just make out some cotton grass here growing. We might see some moorland sheep as well, grazing up on the wild grasses on the moors. Okay, just going to pause here for a second. So, on the map, we're just coming up to an area which is designated danger area. It's a military base. It's called RAF Fylingdales. Now, on the map, it doesn't show anything because it's kind of Ministry of Defence property. But it looks like, looking ahead, the path actually goes right past the perimeter fence here. Now, RAF Fylingdales is part of the early warning system for ballistic missiles. So it's actually a joint base. It's operated and run by the RAF, but it's part of the US and UK Security Service network. So the US detect and track orbiting objects. It's part of their space surveillance network. And the UK also use it as a satellite tracking system, tracking spy satellites from other countries. And it covers a massive chunk of the Northern Hemisphere, particularly up in the Arctic regions. But from here, I'm going to follow this track through the fog, hopefully try and find Lilla Cross. It's on a mound by the track, and the track is one of the former medieval routeways through here. There's lots of tracks across the moors in this area, so hopefully should be able to find it without too much difficulty. So this is it, Lilla Cross, said to be the oldest standing Christian memorial in the north of England, dating back to 626 AD. So Lilla Cross stands on a pre-existing Bronze Age barrow, and it has been excavated and they've discovered the remains of burials from the Bronze Age, but it's also reused into the Anglo-Saxon period. And it's quite a commanding position up here, despite the fog and cloud today. On a clear day you could see right the way over to the North Sea behind me. Now Lilla was a thane of King Edwin of Bede, later Northumbria, and he actually saved the king from an assassin with a poisoned blade by putting himself in between the assassin and King Edwin. This was in the year 625 AD, and this burial apparently dates 626. Now, modern analysis determines that the cross might actually be from the 10th century, so still Saxon and possibly erected on the spot of the original burial. It stands at 952 feet above sea level. That's about 292 metres. The cross is at the junction of several trackways and roads which pass through here, and it's also at the junction of 4 medieval parishes: Alliston, Fylingdales Moor, Goathland and Lockton. 2 of the medieval trackways pass through here, so it kind of serves as a way marker as well as possibly being a burial. So just beside Lilla's Cross there's this plaque which dates back to 1952, and this is when the cross was repositioned here on the mound because it had been removed while the Ministry of Defence was using the moor here for artillery practice, and so to protect it from bombardment, the cross was moved to a nearby mound, another burial mound called Simon's Howe, and then in 1952 it was returned and replaced here. Now there are actually several other tumuli, Bronze Age burial mounds around the moor here. There's one just across from me that I can see on the skyline, and these also have medieval crosses on them, but they now only exist in the form of low stumps that have been eroded over the centuries. It's only really Lilla's Cross here, Malo Cross where we just were, and Mauley Cross where we started in this area that are probably in the best condition. If you're to look in Bede's ecclesiastical history of the English people, it tells us the story of Lilla and his efforts to protect King Edwin. Now, you might have seen the video I did on Goodmanham, where King Edwin and his chief priest Coifi destroyed the temple at Goodmanham that existed and converted to Christianity, thanks to St. Paulinus. This is another episode in that journey towards King Edwin's conversion to Christianity. So Bede writes, "During the following year, an assassin named Eomer was sent into the province by Cuichelm, king of the West Saxons, in order to rob Edwin both of his kingdom and his life. This man had a double-edged, poisoned dagger, to ensure that if the wound itself were not mortal, the poison would complete its work. On Easter Day, Eomer arrived at the royal residence by the Derwent and was admitted into the king's presence on the pretext of delivering a message from his master. And while he was artfully delivering his pretended message, he suddenly sprang up and, drawing the dagger from beneath his clothes, attacked the king. Swift to see the king's peril, Lilla, his thane and best friend, having no shield to protect the king, interposed his own body to receive the blow. But even so, it was delivered with such force that it wounded the king through the body of his warrior. The assassin was immediately attacked on all sides, but killed yet another of the king's men named Ford here in the ensuing struggle." So Bede goes on to tell us that that same night, Easter Day, King Edwin's wife, the Queen, gives birth to a daughter called Eanfled. And giving thanks to the Christian God, he tells Paulinus, the missionary and bishop now, if God would grant him life and victory over the king, his enemy, who had sent the assassin, he would renounce his idols and serve Christ. And it says here, and as a pledge that he would keep his word, he gave his infant daughter to Paulinus to be consecrated to Christ. Accordingly, on the feast of Pentecost, this infant, together with 12 others of her household, were the first of the Northumbrians to receive baptism. So not only does Lilla's Cross here memorialise the life of Lilla and the fact that he gave it to save his king, it also marks the fact that King Edwin's life was saved, that his daughter was born, and it stands as a marker to the beginning of the conversion of the Northumbrian people here in the north of England. So it's quite a significant monument. So the fog is really starting to come in now. I'm sorry about the weather. I honestly did pick a day with bright yellow sun all day from 6 AM until 7 PM for filming, but obviously that means nothing up here, so haven't quite seen the heather in all its glory, but I hope you get an idea of what it could be like up here and what it is like. But anyway, I'm going to try and get down off the moors now. There's a track which follows a stream back down to where I parked the car, so hopefully I find that, the car's still there, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep church searching.